Well, you stayed up till 10 o'clock at night until
the thing came
the
on.
thing came on and said that you had to go. Yeah, you had to go to bed. No more TV. Now it's TV all night long.
All night, all day.
All day, yes.
So what?
A lot more stations to tune into. Yeah, I think we had maybe two or three stations we could tune into back then. Yes.
That's it?
Yeah, it was Lafayette for sure. There was at least one Lafayette station, I think a Lake Charles station, and maybe a Baton Rouge station, if you could get it. You had to have a good antenna to get Baton Rouge. And sometimes Alexandria would come in and you could catch it, but it had real good antenna.
Wow. So what TV shows did you watch when y'all got a TV?
Oh, so there was a lot of game shows back then. You Bet Your Life and What's My Line, and there was the Phil Silvers show. Can't remember too many others, but yeah, a lot of. You can still catch some of these old shows on Nickelodeon,
Mm-hmm. Do you recall any particularly important moments in the town's development?
No, I don't. No, because I guess Rain was like it was back then, the same through my high school and until I left here. I noticed some changes when I came back to visit and such. I'd see changes.
So what changes happened? Because I know you took that long break. You and your wife went to Texas.
Right.
So whenever you came back from Texas, what you noticed?
I don't know when this happened, but the old depot, it's called Depot Square now, but it used to be a freight depot there. It was gone. I can't remember what year it was gone, but and at one time during while I was still going to school, they tore the passenger depot down. That was right across from Irving Cohn's, and on the north side of the track, and the freight depot was on the south side of the track.
What was that? What was the freight depot?
The freight depot was where all the freight from
the trains?
say if you had packages coming in on a freight or lumber or whatever, it would come to the freight depot and they'd unload it there.
So what after they took it down? Where did they unload stuff at?
Oh, they don't. Rain wasn't
nothing was coming.
Rain wasn't a destination for any kind of freight. Yes.
I got you. Oh.
If you had, it probably went to Lafayette and then they put it on a truck and they'd bring the freight by truck to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that took away from Rain's business, or?
I guess it hurt. It probably hurt Rain in some instances. Yes, not having your freight your train stop here anymore. Matter of fact, they had taken the passenger depot out long before that, so passengers had to stop and get off in Lafayette or Lake Charles.
And then come all the way back to Rain.
I think, yeah. Even when I went in 1960, I was able to get on in Crowley. They had a passenger depot there then.
That's close.
That was close. Close enough to where you didn't have to drive very far. Now the closest one is either Lake Charles or Lafayette. Lafayette would be closer for anybody to get on Amtrak. Now they have Amtrak. Then back then it was all Southern Pacific trains. But
what do you think is the biggest event to happen to Rain in the last 100 years or so?
Biggest event.
Like a highway, a political shift, an economy,
I guess the Interstate 10 coming through here, and it was in the I guess the early to mid 60s before they actually completed the highway where it was passable through Rain. I guess that was a big milestone for Rain. Probably brought a lot of business because we didn't have a McDonald's or a Popeyes or anything like that before, and whenever interstate comes through town, it's 2 miles on both sides of your highway. It's going to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's done that at least on the south side. On the north side, we have a McDonald's and a Burger King, and and a restaurant. But it's developed more on the south side because the town was on the south side of the interstate, and it cut some of the traffic coming through on Highway 90, which relieved, I guess, some of the local traffic was relieved, from the interstate coming through.
So what was like your first memory of Mervyn Cons? Do you have anyone in particular?
Ooh, I was a small child remembering coming. We'd have I'll never forget, I don't know when this was, but they'd always have a drawing it might have been a weekly drawing or something like that. You had to have a ticket when you go buy something. They'd give you a ticket of some kind, and they'd have a drawing, like maybe on the Saturday or something. I can recall coming, and there was lots of cars parked down the street here.
What would they draw off to you? What would you get?
I don't remember what the prizes was, and I don't think we ever won anything. But I remember coming and reading about it too, but in later years. But they used to have that was one of their drawing cards, I guess, to get people to come and shop during the week.
On Saturdays,
so.
or on the weekend. So your parents shopped there.
Yeah.
Do you remember one thing that you bought there all the time, or that your parents had to buy? Was there one thing that y'all needed at Mervyn Cons?
Well, we bought a lot of our clothes there when I was growing up. Mother would buy her material and make her and my sister's clothes too. And, me and Daddy would shop at the men's department. I remember buying a suit there. I remember buying my first communion suit and my white sport coat when I was in high, for the proms in high school, and such as that,
Were there different sections in the store, like different departments and stuff like that?
They had several different departments. I worked in the hardware department, and that was the last department on the west side of the building. And the men's department was next to us, and then the ladies ready to wear, and they had the dry goods, and where you entered was the dry goods. You could enter at each department, but the main entrance was the dry goods. And I think they had a shoe department behind the dry goods department. And I don't know that they ever had any business upstairs except for the business part of it, the money changing part of it.
Counting and stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
Was Mervyn Cons a place that everybody shopped?
I think nearly everybody would shop at Mervyn Cons. At one time or another they would shop there.
What did people mostly buy when they went there? Was there something people bought mostly in particular?
I guess you bought what you needed. We in our department, I know we sold a lot of appliances, and they also had a service department in the back side behind the hardware department that they serviced what they sold, and occasionally I'd go out with the servicemen if they needed an extra help, say install an air conditioner or something like that.
So y'all would do that too?
Oh yeah.
If they needed it?
Yeah. The service department would do that, and sometimes they'd send me out with the servicemen to help them, as a helper. And but yeah, it was a hardware, so we had tools as well as dishes and
housewares
cutlery
and stuff
like that. Around Christmas time we had toys, at Christmas we'd gift wrap.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was like the one-stop shop.
It was a one-stop shop. It was a miniature Macy's.
And y'all had food too at one time too, right? Is that true?
They had a food store. Well, I don't recall the food store that well. I remember they had one at one time, but I don't recall having gone into it before. I was still a younger person back then.
Okay, so that kind of came a little bit later.
The food store was before I went to work there. Yeah.
Oh, it was before you.
Yeah, before food store. Yeah.
I gotcha. I didn't know if it was before or after.
Yeah, it was before. apparently there wasn't enough money in the food store, and I can't recall exactly where the food department would have been, so unless it was where the ladies' reservoir or the men's department was, somewhere in that area maybe. But some of the older people may recall that.
I gotcha. Did your family ever have to go shopping? Like, did people ever have to go outside of Rain, outside of Mervyn Cons to get what they needed, or you think that Mervyn Cons
You could probably find anything you wanted there, or next door at Wortmore's, which was a dime store. And still, no, not to change the subject, but Wortmore's now, if you can't find it anywhere, if you can't find it at Wortmore's, you won't find it anywhere else. That's kind of a saying they got. But yeah, Mervyn Cons, I think, is one of those where you could, if you couldn't find it there, you probably wouldn't.
It's a done thing.
It's not anything you needed. Except maybe groceries, you know, you probably have to go. And we had several little mom and pop stores that sold groceries after they closed their store down, so there was no need. You didn't
have to go outside of town to get it.
And people didn't travel as much as they do now to go out of town. You know? Lafayette was an adventure. If you to go to Lafayette, you know, it's kind of like going out of town. You would maybe go bowling or check out the pizza place, and
that was like a little day affair.
The first pizza place was in Lafayette, I think. Elise's Pizza.
Elise's Pizza.
Elise's Pizza.
The one on Johnson Street.
But it wasn't on Johnson Street when I was going. It was on Highway 90 around on Cameron. It's called Cameron Street as you come into Lafayette. Around where, well, a corner, I think near the corner of Bertrand, the old Bertrand Drive.
I know where that is, but the one I know is
it's on Johnston. I've been there since I moved back.
Yeah, that's the one I've tried.
Yeah,
oh wow, that was the first one in Lafayette.
That was the first, and it was. Pizza back then wasn't as common as it is now. You know, it was
like a
new.
treat. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I didn't like cheese.
Really? How did you have pizza then?
Well, I didn't eat pizza until I moved to Texas, and I realized it tasted pretty good.
You didn't know what you were missing. And so, did y'all have any fun things to eat in Rain? Any fun places to eat in Rain? I know, not really.
We had
like a counter in like a real place to eat.
Here in this building, they had a little counter, what they call it, a soda fountain counter here in this building, about where we're sitting here, maybe a little.
Oh wow!
A little further up here. Yeah, they did have a soda fountain here in the People's Drugstore.
Did you feel like Mervyn Cons was a place that people, was it like, did people socialize in there or no? Like, you know?
Yeah, I guess they did. Yeah, I'm sure they did. They said, maybe I shouldn't say this on camera, but if you told if you told it at Mervyn Cons, the rest of the world would know about it. I don't know if you ever watched the on NPR. It's
NPR radio?
LPB.
LPB 24.
They have a little show called "Are You Being Served?" It's about a department store and
customer service.
Maybe it's called customer service too, but it's Are You Being. So I think the name of the program is Are You Being Served, and it reminds me a lot of Mervyn Cons.
What is it about?
Well, it's actually like a men and women's department store, and they have a boss, and they have somebody that walks around the store, and they have the people that work there, and the customers come in, and it's fun.